to discuss the top 5 data points that I would track when getting in shape. So for me, it's super important that we track some form of data, whether that's on my own journey or working with my clients. Because without the data, you're ultimately just guessing at whether you're making progress or not. And simply relying on a feeling isn't going to get you anywhere. And the great thing about utilizing these data points is that you can always reflect back on them to see where you're going wrong to ensure you can keep pushing past those plateaus, whether that's dropping body fat or helping you to build muscle. So we're going to kickstart with daily weigh-ins. Now for me, this is an absolute non-negotiable. And the reason why we weigh in daily is to give us more accurate data points to create an average. So we can see what the daily trends look like, but ultimately the end of the week average is what we're going to focus on. Every individual will have a different trend. Some people's weight will fluctuate on a day-to-day basis. Some people's weight will plateau for several days before they get a drop. And other people will make small daily downwards trends. Now the hardest part on this one is to not get too emotionally attached and understand it's simply a reflection of the last 24 hours. And even if you're perfect today, that doesn't guarantee your weight loss tomorrow. Now, number 2 is progress photos. We can't always rely upon the weigh-ins to tell us exactly what's going on. There are cases where your weight may not be shifting, however, that doesn't mean that you're not improving your overall body composition. So I typically take a front, back, and side shot to create a full 360 picture as to what is going on with my body. Again, the reason for this is because you're not always going to lose the weight from where you want to. Now, your number one area, no doubt, is around that midsection and ultimately wanting to drop the body fat. However, throughout your weight loss journey, you're going to be losing fat from all areas of your physique, whether that's from your arms, your legs, your midsection, or even your face. So that's why it's super important to take these progress photos, and I would argue that you should be taking them roughly every 2 weeks. Now, next up is going to be calories. Now, for me, if I want to try and maximize my fat loss progress, tracking calories is going to be the most efficient way to do that. Now, I've already stated in multiple videos before that it's not absolutely essential that you track calories during your fat loss journey. However, as I said, for me, this is going to deliver the best results because ultimately it's all well and good eating better or eating more healthier foods. However, if you're not within that calorie deficit, you will not be seeing fat loss. And then we're going to look into tracking your steps. And this is to help encourage you to move more. And this is also going to give you something to work towards. So if your current daily output is 2,000 steps, you can set mini actionable targets to work towards, whether that's bumping up from 2,000 to 3, 3,000 to 4, or eventually working towards 10,000 upwards. And again, this ultimately gives you a data point to work with. So if you hit a plateau, you cannot afford to adjust your calories anymore, then you can look at your total daily step count and see whether there's any wiggle room for you to be able to increase that. And again, this ultimately leading to less guessing and more accuracy. Now, finally, it's going to be your workouts. If you want to improve your overall body composition, reducing body fat and building muscle, resistance training is going to be a non-negotiable part of your weekly routine. Now, just like us tracking data for fat loss, whether that be your nutrition, your weigh-in, or your progress photos, you need to track your workouts. Simply going to the gym and going through the motions won't be enough. And ensuring that you're making progress, not necessarily every week, but as frequently as possible, you're only going to be able to identify that if you're logging the loads that you're lifting. And if you can't tell me how much your bench press has improved or how much your squat has improved across the last several weeks, you're doing it wrong. It takes minimal effort and minimal time to simply note down the loads that you lift, and it's going to be much more motivating for you to see your numbers increasing over time. So not only are you now making progress from a fat loss perspective, but you can also see yourself getting stronger over time. So there are my top 5. Now there's multiple other data points that you could track throughout this journey, be that measurements, body fat percentage, even things like your sleep or blood pressure. But that's going to be more specific to you, and ultimately whether you have the time and the patience to track these things accurately. But in my opinion, the more data, the better. Now, as always, guys, if you found this helpful and you want more fat loss and lifestyle tips, head over to my Instagram page at TA Fitness Online. And if you enjoyed this video today, hit the like and the subscribe